History. Font. You see, sometimes you're just dialing up what's happening. And what you find is quite telling. There's a woman talking about how men that she's interviewing for a book are telling her that they feel they can't be men anymore. Men just can't be men. And again, this keeps coming down. Again and again, this keeps coming down, it seems, to the idea of being protectors. And men just can't be protectors anymore. You need to let us be protectors. You need to let us be protectors. And she's saying that there's a construct there that good patriarchal men, if there is such a thing as that good patriarchal men need bad patriarchal men to signal their relevance or to provide a reason or a substrate in which good patriarchal man needs to exist. Like good, I don't know, what does that mean? What does it mean if it's a protection racket, as it is typically that it's the same as a mobster saying, I'm going to protect you because it's going to be hell out for you out there. Nobody's going to love you like I do. You don't like that I give you a black eye? Well, the world out there is going to hate you even more. There's definitely that bandwidth. But just the blindness, essentially, of like you're just playing out the boys. Does someone recognize if they don't have what it takes to deliver kindness? Superman's got more than one power, but the only power that matters is that he is uncorruptible. Because someone who's uncorruptible can do anything if they have other skills. Any way to marshal that forward in the world makes them powerful. Superman is obviously powerful for other reasons, but it wouldn't be spit. And it would be every fan everywhere is blasted with toxic shit if he wasn't true of heart. Because he could even just decide to do kind of a bad job at being good and create a lot of collateral damage. So what's next? What's next here on the board? What else is showing up? The point of this is I'm literally pulling up what is on my phone in terms of this is the stream, this is what Instagram is giving me. Granted, interacting with me, but this is interesting. So, can we not make this a more appropriate size? That's unfortunate. Well, let's... So, let's check it, because this is some Wreck-It Ralph. This is creepy as F. That we have this piece talking about men demanding that they be protectors. And then we have, and this is just what's in the feed, Elon Musk making a bigoted, racist, transphobic, homophobic, like, what is DEI? DEI must die? This is a death threat. This is a threat of mass murder and concentration camps. This is a Nazi telling you he's a Nazi. We go from an observation of how men just have to be protectors and be allowed to be protectors and sustain this idea of what's not protection but is a protection racket. And what's the world of men? We've got Musk telling us DEI must die. A family, an apartheid family, birth a son who essentially is working to take over the world and telling people DEI must die, aiding in the enslavement of women in America. What's next? What's next after this bit on Elon Musk and his link to South Africa's apartheid oppression, and how he essentially says whatever to all of the bigotry and genocide, ongoing harm in America. Incidentally, I just saw a post yesterday where he tried to coalesce chattel slavery of America with everything that's gone before and say, just another minimizing post. Elon Musk is regularly making threats like this one right here, normalizing dehumanization, talking about wokeness being a woke mind virus, and I think I'm good with my Q-tips. A woke mind virus. What is that? What exactly does woke mind virus mean? It seems like woke mind virus means devastation. Like, woke mind virus seems to mean people who think differently, divergence, which is strange because Elon touts his autistic divergence, and so he should. That's diversity. Anyway, what's next? Just happens to next be in the feed. Let's see. After looking at Elon's Musk, his Nazi bullshit, what do we have next? Oh, again, this is just what is on my phone coming up in the feed. Elon Musk is threatening extermination or mental correction. He also owns Neuralink, remember? Next in the feed is how Mark Zuckerberg is... Oh, now that's gone. Oh, there it is. Mark Zuckerberg, his own former lawyer, talking about a descent into toxic masculinity and neo-Nazi madness. I've made a couple of posts and tagged Mark Zuckerberg in them in the last few days, last week, because of this ridiculous a kraut face. Pardon me, that's a dumb joke. An about face to Nazism. And no need to give shade to people who also stopped it, or have held it off. History is not a good one, but it's good to be sensitive to the fact that there are generations who didn't do that. And yet that's a familiar thing. Oh, I didn't do that. I just benefited from it. Oh, I didn't do that. I'm just like Stephen Miller. Well, I didn't do that racist stuff. I'm just benefiting from it and wanting it to continue forever, as if I'm not then also asking for it to happen again. We have Nazis. We have bigots in power. Elon and Mark are dangerous people. How is it that harm becomes normalized? How it happens is right there. It's this brown shirting. It's people putting into the world, in the case of Mark Zuckerberg, he's basically labeling the shops that it's okay for people to destroy. He's labeling where we break glass. If we're part of the group that sees reason for ridiculous hate, or just is willing to tolerate and not see. I think there are three kinds of people at this point. There are Nazis, and there are people who would rather not have to deal. I don't want to have to, but I don't mind I'd rather not see. And then there's the resistance. If you're not the resistance, you have joined the violent people. If you are putting your head in the sand for 4 years, you are a Nazi. And you're just following following these, we used to let them make us call them gentlemen. Like, what's the worst thing you can do? Use weaponry you don't have to. And for aims that are not for you. This is terrorism, and it's terrorism that's allegiant with the same entrenchment of massive corporate power. It's all the same structure, and it's good to mention, where does Nazi patriarchal terror come from? It essentially springs from incredible sexual insecurity and shame. And we have a couple of examples. Well, now they are gone. But now it's going to be more examples. More examples of where we're going. I can't hear it, but I can read. This can't be easy to watch on Instagram. I'm not playing to the vertical. Not playing to the vertical. I should play to the vertical for my Insta folk. So I think I did that incorrectly. I'll have to reframe it for Insta folks. But essentially we had a post what I came online to share was essentially the sequence that was on my phone of a woman talking about how men keep telling her they need to be allowed to be protectors. but how that essentially just re-entrenches the idea that patriarchal terror is a good thing somehow, or should continue. And then we saw Elon Musk being quoted as saying DEI must die. And by the way, he posts that dozens of times a day in different ways. And then followed by Mark Zuckerberg and the announcement that his lawyer working on AI, I believe, but basically said, I'm out. I can't work with someone who is descending into toxic masculinity and a neo-Nazi fantasy. Some kind of havoc. That's devastatingly serious. These men are driving off a cliff. If they weren't connected to us, it would be a different rescue. We don't want to let anybody be a danger to themselves and others, but these are the globally resonant and deeply, deeply, deeply deluded new Menendez brothers. Like, this is ridiculous. They're unable to self-regulate, talking about how regulation in general is evil and wrong. Meanwhile, in charge of things where they are doing all kinds of regulation all the time. And benefit from and work with all kinds of regulation. But they're working with lynch mob logic, that they can say someone's name and make the name a bad word. They can talk about a concept and give that concept all the baggage of the words that they're throwing at it. And they've worked to do that with DEI and PC and woke. That you look at wokeness and you say, if I'm really going to define it, it's about awareness and civic conscience. It's about political and social conscience. Why is that a difficult conversation to have? It's only a difficult conversation if you know you have no leg to stand on because you're a criminal. Of course you want to turn a conversation about a political conscience into correctness, that you then say, you're being a fascist to me by telling me you're saying that's correct and I have to, that's censorship. Nope. No gentle, terrified, toxic incel. Disagreement and reproach is the space of free speech. Disagreeing civilly and respectfully and actually having common language, that's where we have a real conversation, an actual conversation. We have been held at the doorway of a conversation, blitzed into the idea that we had one. But if we stand at the doorway essentially the entire time saying, I'm not trying to correct you, I'm asking that we talk about how we both feel about this thing. You're trying to sense... It literally is just a Marjorie Taylor Greene arm wrestling match. Until we walk through the door. But Marjorie Taylor Greene and Kevin Roberts and Stephen Miller are terrified of going into the room where the principles are at hand. Where we do level with one another, so we have a common pathway towards sense. Anyway, I'll be back. I'm here. I just wanted to share that sequence. It popped up on my phone, and I thought, this is the world. There's a tidal wave of data of men who indeed are lonely and castrated of basic emotional regulation and ability. And Andrew Tate trying to coax them into a lynch mob against humanity. And Tucker and Zucker and Musker. They're just lynch mobbing. Like Nancy Mace and Marjorie Taylor Greene, they're just lynch mobbing. And trying to poke at anything that feels like grievance and say, there's the real reason you need to create some silence of what was life, some silence of what was agency, some silence of what was something you didn't understand, but is part of humanity. Men need to protect women from themselves, like as in from men, men's own selves. We don't need to protect women from women's selves. Women can take care of women. A human being can take care of themselves and can ask for help. But men saying they have to be the protector of women, there's a difference between being willing and offering to be a point of agency in someone's favor. And I will defend my friends just as I'll defend myself. But this system leverages it, coming in and saying, this shop is a mighty nice shop. It would be a real shame if something happened to it. You're real pretty. It'd be a real shame if the wrong guy got you pregnant. That is some straight up terrorism. And, choosing to not terrorize but avail yourself of the same network. Oh, I'm not going to create any harm. I know that all of this is exactly the way it is, and hi, I must look great to you. I'm not coming in with an attack. I just don't care about any of that. What protector are you? What are you protecting me from? From going somewhere else? Yeah, pretty much. If there's a safe man out there, it's not the one who's saying, you're going to hate it out there, nobody's going to love you like me. It's not. And that kind of like bullshit worldview to not be able to manage your own emotions to the place where you can't just see like someone else's agency as not bad for you. You're inside the matrix. And you like how your gloves fit. You like that you can do stuff where, oh, this is by the rule. Look what you did. Oh, no, I'm not pointing a gun. This is just where my hands go. If you are wearing the gloves, if you're wearing the gloves of like the narcissistic matrix of patriarchal terrorism and saying, oh, but you are supposed to be there, but look at what you deserve to be there. I mean, but you're in the street, you're obviously a criminal. But what were you wearing? Well, but men, they really do want to protect. I mean, what's a good strong man for if not you're just enforcing a binary that says there is evil and it will remain, and keeping sides drawn as opposed to saying there's one humankind, let's be humane. It's not humane to demand that someone is a protector. If someone feels protected and safe with you, if it's real, it's because of who you are and what you do and probably how you're being respectful of their agency. Men want an amusement ride where they get to where the name tag daddy. That's not family. That's not kindness. That's not adulthood. You want to be a protector, protect the world from you, and if any part of the world that you set free comes to you and says, hey, you want to be a friend to me? You want to join my party? You want to be family? Protect your ability to be worthy. Protect your ability to be worthy. Protect your ability to know how not to be totally corrupted. Superman's so powerful that he isn't corrupt when he loses all those powers, all those other powers, because he doesn't lose the power of wanting to do good. He still, even if he can't protect himself, knows how to protect everyone from him. I started wearing the word ally on my body, in part because I was developing a utility belt system, and it just looked a little intense. And the personal, I'd color it and make the belt or the harness like friendlier. And people started asking me for help in different ways because they just thought I looked official, or like I expected to be interacted with, or like I had something that, like I knew what time it was. There's nothing more beautiful than someone asking you for help and being able to help, or being trusted as part of human family, that they actually want your help. But it can be ruptured and broken in an instant. It's not because you can fly. It's because you're not that guy. It's not because you can fly. It's because you're the person who's looking for how kindness can come. If you're looking for that, people can sense it. If you're safe, people can sense it. You want to be a protector. If you want to be known as that, yeah, you can offer it. I wear symbols so people know who I am, and it's easier to hold me accountable. They can say, so that's just a shirt. Huh? Tim? It's just a shirt. It's just a fucking shirt. It's easier to hold people accountable if they tell you who they are and don't change the tune. And things can be human scale. It doesn't have to be a big deal. But I think of a person who flagged me down on the bus because one of their headphones had fallen in on the side of the seat on the bus, and like their stop's coming and it's late and they're alone and they're wearing a hijab. And unknown shifts and things, and not, you want to be able to get home and know your way and not have anything where you're like, oh God, did I miss this? Or be off your game. Maybe it helps to have both things in so people don't talk to you if you don't want to be talked to. Maybe that's money that you can't afford to spend. Maybe they don't belong to you. You were borrowed them by a friend. But it's also that someone is there and is helpful. And I had something that I realized could drop down and moved along this opening, and the headphone popped out and she was able to make her stop and go and didn't have to walk from where she didn't know. And someone was nice, someone was kind, and she had her headphones, and she said thank you, and they smiled and said, you're welcome, of course, have a good night. She got that. I didn't have to fly. I just had to be apparently kind. Be protection. You want to be protection, be protection. Protect people from you. And if there's a way that you can be of help, offer that you can and do it. Mark Zuckerberg is welcoming brown shirts by being one himself and saying, oh, there's so much railing against toxic masculinity. Masculinity isn't toxic. And it's like, well, that's not what we're saying. But now you're going all the way to the other side, buddy. Like, if you won't even entertain how something can be done well, because you say that if anyone raises the idea that it could be done or would be done with dishonor, banish that from the room. That's a lot. Like hearing Pete Hegseth or Pam Bondi say, I won't entertain the hypothetical that President Trump would make a illegal, or I won't talk about, he wouldn't do that. Like, one, he has. Two, and one. Firstly and secondly, you're not serious. You're not serious if you are willing to excuse someone from the ability, from the responsibility of transparency and disclosure. Violent men who won't leave, who say, I'm your protection or else, not hiring for that. Thanks, but no thanks. You might have to be a protector. And like any invitation, being a protector or being someone who might offer or be of protection, it's an invitation, and consent is always involved. So that you don't like get the label and like, now I'm your protector and everybody has to know, like, that's as ongoing as consent. It's the same. I mean, it sort of shows. It's like with Nancy Mace's scapegoating, like the actual imagination about what they're talking about isn't functional. It's barely alive. It's barely getting any nutrition or any electrical energy whatsoever, it seems like. Or it's in free fall and trauma, but it's not present. It's not interacting and giving in evidence that's coming out. Because if Nancy Mace, for instance, was looking, she's talking about being a protector, and she's talking about being an emissary of those men who would be protectors and come in and look at kids' genitals and say, like, okay, you can be in here. Well, let me open your pants up. Well, okay, you can be here. Oh, very nice, very nice. No, you come into the other room now. Weird. But worse, she's othering and misgendering a member of Congress, the one person who has come into that body who's a trans person. Nancy's been going to the bathroom by trans women her whole life, but she likes that there's a great opportunity here for a perfect boogeyman. She keeps calling the representative, a man, even though this is a trans woman. You don't have to misgender someone to go for some of the policy things that she's going for. But you probably would, I guess, because it's just discriminatory across the board. But there's a boogeyman. There's a unicorning and a boogeyman, because if you're looking for a man who wants to look at women and do that surreptitiously, then you're looking at people who want to come in and inspect kids' genitals, or you're looking at people like Matt Gaetz and Donald Trump and J.D. Vance, Elon Musk, Tucker Carlson. You're looking at actual rapists and rapist boosters. Men, like, bosom buddies doesn't exist. Bosom buddies isn't a thing. It just doesn't exist. It's never ever been a thing. But if we want to talk about what is real, the infamous escalator, the infamous golden escalator, Donald Trump, definitely, I think that's who we're looking for. If we're looking for a rapist, bosom buddies wasn't real. We're looking for, Nancy Mace is looking for cis, straight men. But because that's not part of her game plan, instead, we do have this ridiculous faux, we have this scapegoating thing happening. Like, Tom Hanks and Peter Scolari were actors, and they're doing a really weird misogynist trope thing. They're kind of playing with the idea of sneaking into the ladies' room. Ha ha ha, isn't that funny? Bad things never happen. Different era, yeah. There have been other, I don't know, comedies, I guess, that go into this switcheroo of pretending, but that's it. Nancy Mace is saying that there is a violent version of bosom buddies that's trying to come into restrooms. People doing that can be apprehended quite quickly. And if that were happening, we'd hear about it. We'd hear about it from Nancy Mace. But the only cis men sneaking in to bathrooms would be folks trying to press these laws. Folks trying to other people and take away from them basic human dignity and comfort. Because it's beyond the realm of possibility, and it would just never happen that an upstanding member of society would suddenly be told, well, I know you just drove into the city and you've had a full cup of coffee, but I realize that you need to get gas, but I can't let you in here. There's a bathroom here, and I just am not comfortable with you being here. I'd rather not pump gas for you, and what's more, I can tell nobody around here is going to let you use the bathroom. How can we let you use the bathroom? It's not safe. So any of the people who this would never happen to, like, don't have to think about it. But this is absolutely the same disgusting bandwidth as slave masters and Nazis. To tell someone, I'm going to withhold there being a bathroom, that's Nazi othering and terrorism and torture. You're dealing with emotional torture. And Nancy Mace should be in jail. She's brown shirting. And she's brown shirting from a position of authority. She's clearly escalating it too. Elon Musk no longer wants me on Twitter, so that's no surprise. But I'm no longer able to respond to her delirious brown shirting, nor that of Elon Musk through the platform anymore. Which is fine. I guess I'd rather not focus on it, but I'm not someone who wants to not see. And with the danger as massive as Elon Musk, it's good to have at least the option of seeing. And if there's a way to communicate with or hold them accountable, I suppose it's probably not through Twixter. But we have real harm unmasking and gaslighting that it's not harm at the same time. All of these things just feed into and play with the same structure of harm, the same exploitation and extraction, and recloaking this matrix of white supremacist patriarchal terror that literally threatens everybody. So yeah, not surprising to find the sequence on my phone today, but kind of uncanny. A woman mentioning the bizarre shape of men saying they must be protectors in a Charlie Kirk world. And then Elon and Mark both chiming in with being disgusting, mindless patriarchal terrorists and Nazis. Like, it should be really clear that Mark and Elon are Nazis. Assaulting and going after DEI, that's a Ku Klux Klan thing. That's a Nazi thing. Normalize remembering that only Nazis and the Klan go after DEI. Only Nazis and the Klan go after wokeness. Only Nazis and the Klan say, oh, you're just being PC, you're trying to censor me. They will use Darvo because they have nothing else. It's just crime. It's just crime. Trying to hold on to a vaunted tone of being connected to propriety. I think we know that propriety has nothing to do with kindness.